The era of social media censorship has now fully arrived. This is from The Intercept. Facebook says it is deleting accounts at the direction of the U.S. and Israeli governments. So there it is. It's here. You know, people on the right they say they were so scared of government control of the internet. But look, that's what we had. Net neutrality, which had rules in place that prevented control of the internet by unaccountable ISPs, internet service providers. So the internet was free and open when we had net neutrality. Now the Republicans and Ajit Pai got rid of net neutrality, and they like that. And now you have, unfortunately, what looks to me like a bipartisan agreement that, no, you should have Facebook controlled by these unaccountable Silicon Valley oligarchs, and it's being cheered. It's being cheered. So you have right-wingers who support it, and I'm going to get to the explanation of that in a second. And of course you have the Democrats who are begging social media, stop the Russian bots. Why don't you control fake news? There's bad news up there, just control it. Trump, same thing, fake news. We should de-license the agencies that do fake news. So what people in Washington are struggling to understand, and what many people in general are struggling to understand, is that who's going to watch the Watchmen? So you want, we got to stop the news that I don't like. It's never going to be used in the way you want it to be used. They're never going to censor only the fake news. It's never going to happen. How do we know that? Look at during the Iraq invasion, they would have called fake news everybody who was right. Everybody who was saying, hey, they don't have weapons of mass destruction. They would have said, have you seen Colin Powell's thing at the UN where he's holding up the uranium? Of course they have weapons of mass destruction. He held up the uranium too. Of course they have weapons of mass destruction. So in other words, it would have been used to serve the interests of the powerful. That's how censorship always works. Whoever's in control, they get to control the narrative. They're only going to allow the narrative to be that which bolsters their own power. So, and this is the same thing with controlling speech off the internet as well. People are, we need hate speech laws to protect vulnerable people. You think it's really going to be used in that way? It's not going to be used in that way. Who runs the government right now? Jeff Sessions and Donald Trump? And these loathsome Republicans are going to say, we should really watch out for hate speech against gay people and Muslims, when they're the ones who are doing the hate speech against gay people and Muslims. They're not going to use it like that. They're going to use it against left-wingers, of course. Of course they are. So censorship never works in the way you want it to work. The way anybody would want it to, let's go only the actual fake news. Never going to happen. Ever. They would have been talking about everything WikiLeaks ever released, about the DNC leaks. That all would have been, it's fake news. It's not fake. It's actually real, and it's literally their emails. But if it's fake because it doesn't suit our purposes, so censor it. So here are just some of the people who were censored. The Palestinian Dialogue Network, Gaza Now, Jerusalem News Network, Shihab Agency, Radio Bethlehem 2000, Orient Radio Network, Page Mesh Heck, I don't know what that means, Ramallah News, and various Palestinian activists were censored. They pulled down their pages. Apparently, the Israeli government told Facebook, listen, if you don't comply and take down the pages we want you to take down, you're going to be severely fined, or we might even ban you in Israel. So what happened? Facebook met with the far-right justice minister, ironically named Ayelet Shaked, and they agreed to 95% of her requests. By the way, Ayelet Shaked is openly in favor of illegal settlements that violate international law. She has, during the incursion in 2014 into Gaza, she called for genocide against Palestinians. She said they're all the enemy. You got to treat the women and children just like you treat people who are literally shooting a gun at you. So this is the person who is getting Facebook to do what she wants. Hey, these are the ones I don't like. So, for example, you know what they said? There's one page that had a picture of Yasser Arafat holding a rifle. They go, that's the threat of violence. Pull down the whole page. And Facebook did. And now the U.S., whoever is on the U.S. sanctions list, they'll pull down those pages. Oh, come on, man. How do we not? This is what happens. This is how free speech dies. Everybody who pretends to be a free speech warrior, your main issues should be net neutrality, for one. You should want those FCC rules in place and want Ajit Pai to fuck off and to go back to what it was, net neutrality. And also, everybody should be against Silicon Valley censoring anything. You shouldn't want Twitter, get rid of all the mean accounts. Get rid of those mean accounts. Get rid of the Russian bots. Russian bots. We've already had examples of people who are not Russian bots who had their accounts pulled down, and they're like, what the fuck? If you're in favor of fucking Richard Spencer getting pulled down, well, don't come crying when George Cicarello-Mar gets pulled down, who's a far left professor who's a Marxist who tweeted, for example, all I want for Christmas is white genocide. Okay, well, don't be shocked. I'm just telling you, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. If you want Richard Spencer or some odious people on the far right pull down, just don't be surprised when they start pulling down Marxists. It's never going to be used like you want it to be. It's never going to do that. They're never going to say, oh, it's just Alex Jones. He's the fake news. We're just going to, take his shit away. Oh, whoops, look at that. Now all of a sudden everything from Truth Dig and Truth Out and Alternate went away. Everything from Secular Talk, shit. Now when you do a search, you can't find Secular Talk videos. That's weird. Because when you beg for people to be your filter, they're going to filter it in the way they want to. And they don't have the same sensibilities as you. They don't believe the same things you believe necessarily. So this is a recipe for disaster. No, Facebook shouldn't be taking... And this is such a clear power move, man. It's a clear attempt to try to cut the legs out from underneath any popular movements in the case of Israel. BDS has gotten very popular and it's very successful. They've made it so that businesses have moved out of occupied territory because they're like, shit, we're feeling the hurt here. Nobody's buying our shit because they're boycotting us because we create our product in occupied territory. So businesses have moved out of the occupied territory as a result of it. And that scares the shit out of Netanyahu. That scares the shit out of Likud. That scares the shit out of the Jewish Home Party. The far right in Israel, they hate that. So what do? I don't know. Get Facebook in. Let's cut the legs out from underneath this. Anything we decide Facebook should pull down, we'll pull them down. So people who are fighting for Palestinian rights and freedom, pull them down. That's what's happening here. Censorship is never the answer, but unfortunately, far too often people think it is the answer, and it's going to be used against the most marginalized in society.